Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the Mr. Hayden YouTube channel. So I'm joined by a special guest here, Ben from My E-Commerce Accountants. And what we're going to do is go over the major VAT changes that are coming on the 1st of August for all sellers in the UK and the USA. Ben's got a lot of knowledge on this. Obviously his being an accountant, they've dived into this deeply, made sure that we've got the correct knowledge to give you on this call. So yeah, watch right through to the end of the video so you know exactly what to do, especially if you're non-VAT registered, but even the people that are VAT registered, just to make sure you've got all the information that you need. If you want to reach out to Ben, got any questions for him, or if you want him to handle your accounting, obviously, then yeah, just hit the link below and get in contact with them on there. So without further ado, Ben, I'll let you just take over and we'll dive straight into this.
Yeah, absolutely. So Amazon have basically changed the way they're doing their VAT for their seller fees and FBA fees, and they're doing that from the 1st of August 2024. So before they've changed this, basically, if you gave them your VAT number, they would not charge you VAT on FBA fees or selling fees. But also, if you weren't VAT registered, but you were a business, you could actually raise a case in Amazon, and they would still remove the VAT from Amazon fees and FBA fees. So then you would basically get a bit of double
I remember
bubble
doing that.
where, yeah, exactly. And you get a refund as well. You get like all the stuff you paid, they'd refund you. So it's really good. And a lot of people saved a lot of money and margin, more importantly. So you had a good margin from it. So that was great. But now they're changing that. And I don't know if they're changing that because everyone keeps raising this case. I don't know. But what they're going to do is they're just going to bill from the country that you're selling in. So UK will be billed by UK entity, and that means they're going to be charging VAT to everyone who sells on, say, the UK market. If you're a UK limited company or a UK sole trader, they'll be charging you 20% VAT if you're VAT registered or if you're not VAT registered. Or even if you've raised the case, they'll still add back on the VAT now. And they won't do it retrospectively. They'll do it from the 1st of August 2024. And that's a bit of a conundrum because, like, it means then that if you're not VAT registered, then your FBA fees and selling fees will go up by 20%. And normally, Amazon fees, FBA fees represent like 30% of your sales. So then you can expect your margin to erode by around 4 to 6%. So then you're going to be worse off 4 to 6% unless you change prices, which is quite hard to do on Amazon. Maybe if everyone does it, fine, but ultimately it's probably quite hard. So you're just going to have to stomach the 4 to 6% hit to your margin. And like some people will ask, oh, should I get VAT registered so I can reclaim this? And the answer is always no, because if you get VAT registered before you hit that threshold, then you have to pay 20% of your sales to HMRC, which would be losing even more margin. So the answer is not getting VAT registered early. It is just, basically paying this and taking the 4 to 6% hit. But you want to factor that in on all your products you're selling now and make sure you've got enough margin that you can survive that increase in Amazon fees and FBA fees. So that's the kind of action point I'd have for people who are not VAT registered. If you are VAT registered, then, and you're on the normal scheme, I think you're on the normal scheme on your head.
I am, yeah.
And if you're on the normal scheme, it doesn't matter. You're going to reclaim the VAT on FBA fees and selling fees. So for you, the margins don't change. Nothing changes. Maybe your payout changes a little bit, but your VAT bill will make up for that. And you basically will be absolutely net neutral on these changes. The only people who are VAT registered and it will impact are those people on the flat rate scheme. So if you're on the flat rate scheme, it basically means you're paying 7.5% of your sales as VAT rather than the full 20%, but you cannot reclaim your VAT from purchases. So it's kind of like it's only based on sales. And it was actually really good because as soon as you gave the VAT number to Amazon, they would still remove the VAT from the FBA fees and selling fees. So you're basically getting best of both worlds, and you're getting a great margin, and you've reduced how much you pay in VAT, and they're not charging you to 20%. But now they're changing that. So if you are on the flat rate scheme, you can expect your margins to be hit by 4 to 6%, like someone who's not VAT registered. And it might be worth talking to your accountant and actually deciding if it's still financially better for you to be on the flat rate scheme, or maybe you should move to the normal scheme now, because this change will, it doesn't make sense anymore.
How do people know if they should be on the flat rate scheme or the standard rate scheme? Should they talk to their accountant about that specific situation?
Yeah, I mean, talk to your accountant, but the general rule is, and to be fair, not many accountants really explore the flat rate scheme for e-commerce sellers. They just say, "Yeah, you're VAT registered now, deal with it." But because some people, like maybe people who are doing retail arbitrage, where they go into places like Boots or Argos or whatever, and they're not getting a VAT receipt, and you can't reclaim the VAT on that, then a flat rate works really well because then they're only paying 7.5%. So then in that situation, it's really good. So basically, you look at your costs and you see how much VAT you're charged, compare that to how much on each scheme you'd pay. So on the normal scheme, you pay 20% of your sales as VAT, but then maybe reclaim half of that when you reclaim on your purchases. So then you net pay an effective VAT rate of like 10%. Whereas on the flat rate scheme, if you look at that, but then your purchases, there's no VAT on them, maybe your Amazon fees and FBA fees were 0% VAT, then it doesn't make sense, because then when you do that sum, you're then effectively paying 20% VAT because you're not reclaiming anything. And that's when we put someone on the flat rate scheme, so it makes sense for them. So you'd have to redo that calculation of what can I claim, what am I selling, and then see which one's better off for you.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Makes sense. So talk to your accountant about that. But in terms of the actual changes coming on the 1st of August, so like, is there a major actionable step that people need to take right now?
Yeah, I mean, the actual step right now is, if you're not VAT registered, don't do anything. If you are VAT registered in your flat rate scheme, recalculate if it's worth it for you. If you're not VAT registered, then you're going to expect a 4 to 6% hit on your margin.
People can do.
And then maybe you want to review your products, basically. So review your products, make sure you've got the margin there to survive it.
Yeah, okay. So there's not much people can do. They're just going to lose that extra bit of margin, unfortunately. And then
you're going to lose it, but you're going to get some products which become unprofitable to sell now. So you want to make sure you kind of keep an eye on that and just remove those products or sell them quickly before the changes happen.
Yeah. And then, yeah, things are going to, yeah, I guess there's nothing that can be done until they go VAT registered, obviously. If someone's like sort of 65, 70K a year at this stage, would you recommend they just go to the VAT registered now, or no, it's not worth it?
No, never. I mean, it would always work out worse off, because, yeah, you're reclaiming, say, 6% of your revenue from the 20% on the Amazon fees and FBA fees, but then you're losing 20% on your actual sales themselves.
Yeah.
So then you're just like shooting yourself in the foot again, and you're losing even more margin. So always hold off for the VAT registration.
What if someone's selling 0% items, like grocery items that haven't got VAT on them? What do you think in that case?
Yeah, in that case, you could probably would review getting a VAT registration early, but then you want to be careful in terms of how you then account. Talk to an accountant, because sometimes in those cases, if you're selling some like maybe exempt goods or something like that, you need to like apportion how much VAT you can reclaim, and it can get a bit tricky. But if you're doing largely zero rated, then maybe actually getting registered with VAT would work for you in that case.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So that's why I said, I think at the start of the videos, everyone, it's a specific scenario. So that's why you need to check to your accountant. So yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. I think that's the majority of the information everyone needs. We won't carry it on for no reason. So yeah, guys, there's a 30% discount, by the way, below on the link to your e-commerce accountants with Ben. And if you do want to have a chat with them to see if this is something that you're interested in, or you need to transition into VAT yourself, or whatever you need, any questions, I'm sure Ben will be happy to help. He also does a free Q&A for beginner sellers. I remember him saying on another video. So yeah, contact them. I'm sure he'll give you all the information needed for that stuff as well. Yeah, so cool. Thanks for having us, Ben. We'll have you on soon.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Thanks, Ben.